Good morning, everybody. It's the year 2021, and I'm here now. I would like to share with you some of my how I retired in 2015, and I'm now into my 6th-year retirement, and what made me retire early. Well, in 2015, I was with a multinational company, and my boss told me that I had to, at age 55, I needed to start relearning things again in order to get some certifications, and that formed part of my KPI in my yearly performance assessment. Now, at 55, I didn't think I needed to start relearning things again. My brain wasn't there, and I do have some eyesight problems, so I thought maybe 2015 is a good time to retire. Although in Malaysia the retirement age is 60. So what I did was I did a calculation. I just added all my assets, my cash assets, and I decided I did a simple calculation. That means I did my monthly costing of my cost of living for every month, and just to see how much my present cost of living is. And I found out that if I was to live for another 20 years, based on my current monthly expenses, I would be able to survive. That's because I have enough savings now in order to have that kind of enjoyment and not worry about working anymore. So you can do that too if you know how to calculate. It was a very simple calculation. Just take your current monthly cost of living expenses times the expected lifespan which you estimate you will live to. So let's say now I am 61, or I was 55 when I was retired, so I expect to live up to 80. So it's 80 minus 55, that gives me 25 years, times the monthly expenses times 12. Right? Then that gives you the total cash you need in order to survive till 80. So now with that amount, with that value, with that figure, go and check your savings, whether you do have enough to sustain that cost of living for the next till 80 years old. So let me put somewhere at the side here, show you how I calculated my the cash I needed in order to survive for the next 20 years. It's a very simple calculation, and you can just refer to it. You can do that simple calculation and refer to the amount of savings you have right now. So let's take a simple calculation. Let's say every month you spend $3,000. That's for your cost of living, right? That will be 3,000 times 12. That will give you the cost of living for 1 year. That's over 12 months right now. So now you expect to live maybe 20 years. Like I'm 61 actually. So I expect to live to 80. So now I have approximately 20 years. I expect to live my life expectancy of 20 years. So 36,000 per annum times 20 years, that gives me 720,000. So now I must have 720,000 in the bank, cash in the bank, in order to sustain my current month living expenses of 3,000. Now, actually you don't really need that much, because usually around by 70 years you will actually maybe have even lesser expenses, because as we grow old we tend to eat less, right? We spend less. So your 3,000 may not be actually 3,000, maybe lesser than that. So consider that. So that you may have actually you can actually live for another 20,000, or maybe on a lesser total savings amount. Now, when you do this kind of to calculate the amount of money you need to retire, you have to make some assumptions. Now, the assumption which I did was that I would spend 3,000 every month on my living expenses, and in order to survive to 20 years, I would need to have in my bank 720,000 cash. Now, I'm assuming that I will not have any major illnesses, and if I have a major illness, I will not use my savings money in order to treat myself. That means if I do have a major illness before 80, then I would consider myself, I would not go for any major treatment in order to survive. That's one condition I made for myself, so that I can live up to 80 if possible. Alright, but we never know, like COVID now comes in, right? It throws every plan out, but it does not matter. As long as you already have 720 in the bank now, you can live every month based on your living expenses of 3,000. The next thing you need to consider is that during your 20 years, you have no more major commitments. You got no major commitments if possible, right? If you now have a commitment, you have to add it to your $720,000 cash amount you have now, and then add in your other commitments. Let's say you want to go for holiday every year, so you add in 20,000 this year. So add in 20,000 to your 720,000 cash. Now I take 80 years. That is the average human lifespan, usually in most countries, even in Malaysia. So if you want to live to 90, or you expect to live to 90, which I don't want to, because usually by then our mental and physical characteristics will have deteriorated, right? So I do not wish to live to that long, and I expect my life expectancy to be 80. But however, if you do want to extend it to 90, no problem. Just take your monthly expenses. Now in this case, we're using the example of 3,000 times 12 months times 30 years. If you are 60 years now, so that will give you a new savings amount you need to have in your bank in order to live up to 90 years based on a monthly expense of 3,000. Now that was based on the assumption that you have the cash in the bank of $720,000. Now assuming you don't have that amount of money, then you need to calculate again how much money you have in the bank and how to get some passive income on that cash in order to sustain you for the next 20 years. I will do that in another series, another part of this video, to tell you what kind of return on investment you need in order to sustain your monthly expenses. So then, I hope this short video gives you a very simple way of calculating to see how much money you have now and whether you can retire. Well, if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I shall be putting on more videos on retirement issues, and I hope that you will like the future content as well. Thank you for hearing me out, and I hope some of the information which I've said here will help you decide on whether you can retire early. Bye-bye.